Ryan, today's announcement is a positive one for the club. What is your immediate reaction?
Yeah, massive. I think with every successful club and organisation, is built on a foundation of a good academy. I think if you look at all the successful teams and the teams who've won trophies and been really successful, it's always come from the ground up, and that starts with your academy pathway. So I think more importantly is the excitement for young players and young children around Salford, that there actually is a pathway for them now, and a really good one at that, with an abundance of great people involved in the club. It's a great club to be a part of and aspire to be involved in.
Just how important is it to the development of a young player to have such a strong infrastructure in place?
Yeah, it's massive. I just think from a personal point of view, I had to go to Castleford to kind of get my academy, probably a pathway up and going, but to have it on your doorstep is pretty special. And I think the commitment from parents and guardians, that sometimes it's really difficult for them to travel far away for a kid to go in your camp. So the fact it's on your doorstep now, and we can attract Salford kids and Salford juniors from our local teams. The amount of players you see in Super League who've come through a Salford area but not had a pathway, and we've kind of lost out to Wigan and your Warringtons. Now we're going to have a real crack at keeping them. So I think ultimately you want to build a pathway to service your first team, don't you? Which ultimately, when players are injured, you can rely on these kids to come through and play. And I think we've got a coach in Paul Rowley who I think historically has given chances to young players, but rather than having to go and pinch other people's youngsters, we can create our own now, which is probably the most exciting part. Is over the next 5-10 years you're going to get some real good Salford kids coming through and playing for Salford's first team.
You obviously played at youth level in West Orton before leaving and going on to have a successful career regardless. But how does it make you feel that a new generation of players representing local grassroots clubs now have an elite pathway through which they can get into Super League playing for Salford?
I think that's the exciting thing, that when you're looking behind your shoulder, there's people trying to take your shirt, and there's a pathway there for them to take that. I think we've probably felt guilty over recent years that we've not created enough youngsters. But I think if you look at our captain, Callum Watkins, it probably shouldn't have took him that long to end up back at Salford. He should have been there a lot sooner. So I think people can aspire to be people like Callum, who's been an England international and he's now the club captain. I know as a young kid, you always focus on your idols. You not so much teams, but you focus on certain players. And I think our club captain in Callum is a perfect example of that. Someone who kids can look up to, idolise, and again, it's, I suppose, more of an exciting opportunity. And from the top looking down, I know I've only got a couple more years left in my career, but to see the young kids coming through and want to play for Salford, I think that'll be the big difference in having a pathway. Not many kids idolise or want to play for Salford, where I'd love to change that narrative, and now we've got our own academy, so I think that will certainly happen.
How do you think it will help the growth of rugby league in Salford, and what impact will it have on the local community? Well,
it gives people belief, doesn't it? I think if you're a kid and you're playing in the local areas for the local amateur teams, and there's no pathway for you at Salford, you lose belief, don't you? And you lose excitement, and then you're looking at your Wigans and your Warringtons. But now you're going to get a chance, and I think that's all. Especially as a young kid, that's all I ever wanted was a chance, and now they have that. I think again we've got a set of coaches in that other room there who will go out to games and will watch and provide opportunities and provide chances. And with this team, you're going to get a good chance. You're going to play at some point. So I think the excitement of a chance and an opportunity will be alarmingly good in a positive outlook in terms of kids who are coming through a certain pathway and coming through amateur clubs, because now they're going to get given a chance, and there's a real opportunity for kids what they've probably not had, and now they can look to Salford to play their first team rugby rather than other clubs. So the fact we now have that puts us on par with your strong academies, because at least we can have a good crack at keeping our best youngsters.
And just finally, as a senior player, part of the leadership group, what advice do you have for those young players who will be coming into the academy?
I just think they're going into a club, an environment which is a pretty special one. This group of players in particular, probably I've never felt as close to a group as I have done these boys, and that probably signifies the environment from club from top to bottom. I think everyone can be them, like I suppose unapologetically themselves. You don't have to be a big time or any ego coming into this group. You as long as you work hard and apply yourself, you'll get the respect. And I think that's a positive for young guys. We're not expecting for you to be superheroes and world-class players, but as long as you try hard, and I think that probably resonates with the fans as well. I think I've been a fan long enough at this club that if you put in the effort and you apply yourselves the right way, you'll always get respected. And like I said, we won't win every game, but I think the effort has always been pretty evident, and the character of the group has always been pretty evident as well. So I think that's the exciting thing, obviously knowing that there's going to be a fresh group of youngsters who want to be you, and I think it's probably a nice thing, isn't it, that to be idolised and for kids to want to be us. It's something that I can't really wait to get involved in. I think there's a lot of senior players who want to get involved with the youth and the development and the pathway. So any help I can give or the boys can give, we'll be more than willing to help. I think that's the best thing about this club is no one's too scared to ask questions, and no one's too big time to give information and give clarity and give help. I think because we're all kind of striving for the same thing, aren't we? So hopefully we get a good group of youngsters who are willing to learn, and I'm sure the boys will be really excited by that opportunity to help and grow and mentor these young athletes. It's a really exciting time for the club.